2016's Doom begins on Mars, a desolate and industrialized planet dominated by the Union Aerospace Corporation, or UAC, in their greedy pursuit of energy exploitation. But this isn't just any energy source, it's Argent energy, a power drawn directly from Hell itself. This dangerous energy source has provided UAC with immense resources, but it has also opened the gates to a catastrophe beyond control. Mars has turned into a planet where science and infernal horror collide. The UAC has bridged two dimensions, turning Mars from the red planet into a grim fusion of sci-fi and demonic horror. The contrast between cold, metallic corridors and hellish, blood-red landscapes create an oppressive yet thrilling atmosphere that persists throughout the game. As you progress, the environments shift from sterile laboratories to infernal caverns teeming with grotesque details. Every location visually tells its own story. Glowing pentagrams on the walls, the remains of unlucky employees scattered on the floors, and structures ravaged by the destructive power of demonic forces serve as a stark warning of what greed and pushing the boundaries can unleash. The setting in Doom is not just a backdrop, however. It's an active participant immersing you in a world where science has crossed its limits and unleashed chaos. Every detail, whether large or small, deepens the feeling that Mars is merely an extension of Hell itself. In the game, Mars feels alive, but not in the traditional sense. It is dead, desolate, and filled with traces of something horrific that has happened. The silence in the sterile corridors is shattered by the roars of demons, screech of metal, and splatter of blood. Flashing lights, dancing shadows, and random sound effects never let you feel at ease, constantly reminding you that enemies surround you. The Hell sections, on the other hand, are pure nightmare feel. There's nothing human about them. The environment is full of living flesh, distorted structures, and sinister vistas. The atmosphere is intentionally so heavy that it keeps the player on edge at all times. One of the most striking elements in Doom is how the environment tells its own story without dialogue. For instance, the UAC facilities are filled with small details like scientists' notes, the placement of corpses, or messages scrawled on the walls. These details give the players the opportunity to piece together the events on their own. This makes the game world immersive and vivid. This world is dark, eerie, entirely captivating, and visually satisfying. It serves as the perfect stage for the carnage to come, with you as the main star. Before we go any further, I highly recommend playing the game like so. Turning up your FOE to the max, bumping the music as loud as it gets, and turning off your HUD, transforming your game from this into this. The gameplay in Doom is pure unfiltered chaos in the best possible way. It's fast, brutal, and demands your full attention at every moment. Unlike many modern shooters where you might spend time hiding behind a cover, Doom throws you straight into the action and expects you to keep moving, keep shooting, and never let up. At its core, the gameplay revolves around one simple rule. If you stop, you die. The arenas are designed to keep you on your toes, with enemies pouring in from all directions and no safe place to rest. This constant movement isn't just encouraged, it's necessary. Staying mobile is the key to survival, and the game rewards aggressive play with health, ammo, and armor drops from fallen enemies. The combat is built around a loop that feels endlessly satisfying. You shoot, you dodge, you chainsaw through a demon for an ammo refill, and then you rip another apart with a glory kill for some health. This flow is so perfectly tuned that even when the odds are stacked against you, you feel like a force of nature tearing through the hordes of demons with precision and brutality. The weapons in Doom are a love letter to classic FPS games, with each one feeling distinct and powerful. From your trusty shotgun to the devastating gauss cannon, every weapon has its own role to play in your arsenal. And just when you think you mastered one, the game introduces mods that lets you customize your playstyle even further. Maybe you prefer the explosive rounds for your shotgun, or the precision bolt for the heavy assault rifle. There's no wrong choice, only the one that fits your approach to the carnage. The enemies are another highlight of the gameplay. Each type of demon has its own unique behavior and weaknesses, forcing you to constantly adapt your strategy. From the nimble imps that dance around your attacks, to the towering barons of hell that soak up damage like sponges, every encounter feels like a test of your skill and reflexes. Level design plays a huge role in keeping the gameplay engaging. The arenas are layered with verticality, secret passages, and opportunities to outmaneuver your foes. Exploration is rewarded too, with hidden collectibles, upgrade points, and Easter eggs scattered throughout the maps. These moments of discovery provide a brief respite from the relentless combat and gives you a chance to appreciate the intricacies of the game's design. Doom's gameplay is a masterclass in balancing chaos and control. It makes you feel like an unstoppable force while still challenging you to think, react, and adapt. It's a thrill ride from start to finish, and every moment feels like a carefully orchestrated symphony of destruction.
Tempered by the fires of hell, his iron will remains steadfast through the passage that preys upon the weak. He set forth without pity and hunted the slaves of doom with barbarous cruelty. Unbreakable, incorruptible, unyielding. None could stand before the horde but the Doomslayer. For he alone was their looker.
Doom's story is both simple and surprisingly intricate, depending on how deep you want to go. On the surface, it's straightforward. Demons have invaded, and you, the Doomslayer, are here to stop them. But beneath this action-packed premise lies a fascinating blend of lore, mystery, and subtle world building. You wake up chained and encased in a sarcophagus deep within a UAC facility. The world tried to seal you away, hoping to prevent the fury of the Doomslayer from being unleashed again, but hell didn't account for humanity's greed. With the gates of hell wide open and demons pouring through, your resurrection marks the beginning of their end. From the moment you break free, the tone is set. The Doomslayer wastes no time grabbing his armor, donning the Praetor suit as an unmistakable symbol of war. His purpose is clear: eradicate every demon in his path. No dialogue, no hesitation, just pure, unrelenting action. It may sound very simple, but keep in mind that there is a ton of story that I skipped for the sake of keeping this video somewhat short-ish. The lore, though optional, adds a layer of depth to the story. Through codex entries and environmental storytelling, you learn about the UAC's reckless experiments, their obsession with harnessing Hell's power, and the cult-like worship that many employees have for the demonic forces. It's a chilling reflection of humanity's hubris and the lengths we'll go for some progress. And then there's the Hell's perspective on the Doomslayer. The demons see you as the ultimate threat, a destroyer who has single-handedly turned the tides of their conquest before. The writings in Hell's Temple speak of you in reverent fear, describing your past rampages and the devastations you've wrought. It's rare for a game to make you feel like a genuine legend, but Doom nails it. The story's pacing is another highlight. It never bogs you down with lengthy cutscenes or expositions. Instead, it delivers just enough context to keep you engaged while letting the gameplay take center stage. You can dive into the lore if you want, but it's never forced upon you. Now, even with that being said, you don't really play a game called Doom for its story, right? And personally, I think leaning towards the gameplay more was the right decision to make. In many ways, the story of Doom is about breaking cycles. Humanity tried to control Hell and failed. The demons thought they could contain the Doomslayer and failed. And you, the player, are here to break the cycle of exploitation, corruption, and invasion with sheer, unrelenting force. It's simple, effective, and endlessly satisfying. While I spoke next to nothing about the story, the game itself is very replayable with its customization, collectibles, and even some classic Doom maps. All in all, the story is pretty average, but I enjoyed it, and I'd recommend that you play it too.
Blinded by his fervor, the lure drew him in. The priests entombed him in the cursed sarcophagus. The mark of the Doomslayer was burned upon his crypt, a warning to all of Hell that the terror within must never be freed. And there he lies still, evermore, in silent suffering.
If there's one thing that fuels the chaos and intensity of Doom, it's the soundtrack. From the very first bass-heavy riff, it grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go. The music isn't just a complement to the gameplay, it's an integral part of what makes the experience unforgettable. Every track is carefully composed to rise the adrenaline of a battle. When demons swarm, the music roars with you, building a visceral connection between the action and your senses. It's not just a sound, it's a feel. The way the music responds to gameplay is another stroke of genius. As the fights escalate, the music dynamically shifts, layering in heavier guitars, bounding rhythms, and chaotic energy. It's as if the game and the soundtrack are in perfect sync, amplifying every glory kill and every moment of the mayhem. The music is also heavily influencing you, the player, while you rip and tear. I'll show you two examples of gameplay, without music and with music. Notice the difference? And then there are the quieter moments, the eerie ambient tracks when you're exploring corridors or piecing together the story. They give you a sense of foreboding, reminding you that the next encounter is just around the corner. The music is simply amazing, and I can't get enough of it, leading me to talk about the man himself, Mick Gordon, the mastermind behind the soundtrack. His work on the game is nothing short of legendary. Gordon didn't just create a playlist of cool songs, he built a soundscape that feels like it's part of the Doom Slayer's very essence. To capture the game's energy, Gordon used a mix of unconventional techniques. He incorporated distorted sounds, chainsaw-like riffs, and even used a 9-string guitar to create the game's signature heavy tone. The result is a soundtrack that feels raw, primal, and entirely unique. His work didn't just earn critical acclaim, it became iconic. The Doom 2016 soundtrack has set a new standard for what video game music can be, an unforgettable, integral part of the experience. The music isn't just a backdrop, it's a weapon, an anthem, and a force of nature that drives you to keep ripping and tearing until it is done. Before I leave you, I just want to say thank you for listening to me yapping about, at the time of making this video, a 9-year-old video game. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and maybe a comment. Thank you for watching, stay safe, drink water, and play Doom.